Welcome back to Think and Speak podcast. Today's episode is not just about learning English. It's about changing how your brain works. If you've ever felt stuck translating in your head, searching for words, or losing confidence mid-sentence, this conversation is for you.
Exactly, Emma. Many learners study English for years, yet fluency still feels far away. The missing piece isn't more vocabulary or more grammar rules. It's learning how to think in English.
Thinking in English changes everything. How fast you speak, how confident you sound, and how natural your sentences feel. And today, we're breaking this down step by step with real explanations, real examples, and real conversation.
Before we dive in, take a moment to support the channel. If you want clearer English, stronger confidence, and smarter learning strategies, click the like button and leave a comment below. Tell us what language you think in right now.
Your comments help this podcast grow and help other learners find lessons that truly work.
This is Think and Speak podcast. Let's talk about why thinking in English changes everything.
Daniel, let's start with the big idea. Many learners ask, why is thinking in English so important? They wonder if it really makes a difference or if it's just a motivational concept. From your experience, why does thinking in English completely change how someone speaks, understands, and uses the language in real life?
This question goes to the heart of fluency, Emma. Thinking in English is not a motivational slogan, it's a cognitive shift. When learners think in English, they remove the biggest barrier to fluent speech, translation. When you translate, your brain follows a three-step process. Understand the idea in your native language, convert it into English grammar, and then search for vocabulary. This overloads working memory, causing pauses, mistakes, and anxiety. Thinking in English eliminates those steps. From a linguistic perspective, thinking in English strengthens automaticity, which is the brain's ability to produce language without conscious effort. Native speakers don't think about verb tenses, they feel what sounds right. For example, I've already seen that movie. This sentence uses the present perfect tense naturally to connect past experience with the present. When learners think in English, grammar becomes intuitive rather than analytical. Another key change is speed of response. Thinking directly in English allows learners to answer questions immediately. Question: what are you doing later? Response: I'm meeting a friend after work. This response uses the present continuous for future plans, a common spoken structure. Thinking in English also improves listening. When learners stop translating, they recognize sentence patterns, not individual words. This improves comprehension, especially with fast or informal speech. Most importantly, thinking in English changes identity. Learners stop using English and start living in it mentally. That shift transforms confidence, fluency, and long-term success.
Daniel, many learners say they don't know how to start thinking in English. They understand the idea, but when they try, their native language automatically takes over. How can learners practically begin thinking in English in their daily lives?
This is where strategy matters, Emma. Thinking in English doesn't begin with complex thoughts. It begins with simple, controlled inner speech. The first step is labeling. Learners should name objects and actions around them. This is my desk. I'm opening the door. I need my keys. These sentences often use the present simple and present continuous tenses, which are ideal for real-time thinking. The second step is self-talk in short sentences. Learners don't need perfect grammar, they need clarity. I should reply to that email. This sentence introduces modal verbs, which are essential for expressing decisions and obligations. Another technique is question-based thinking. Ask yourself questions in English. What am I doing? What do I need next? Then answer them immediately. Learners should also use set phrases, such as, let me think. That makes sense. I'm not sure yet. These phrases reduce pressure and increase fluency. Importantly, learners must accept mistakes. Inner speech is private, it's a training ground. The goal is flow, not perfection. Over time, the brain adapts. English stops feeling foreign and starts feeling functional.
Daniel, grammar often scares learners. They worry that thinking in English means ignoring grammar rules. How can learners think in English while still improving grammar accuracy?
This is a common misunderstanding, Emma. Thinking in English does not mean abandoning grammar. It means learning grammar through usage, not memorization. Grammar should be learned as patterns, not rules. For example, I'm used to waking up early. This sentence demonstrates be plus used to plus gerund. When learners think in English using full sentences, they naturally repeat correct structures. Repetition strengthens implicit grammar knowledge, which is how native speakers learn. Another method is sentence recycling. Take one structure and reuse it. I'm getting better at speaking. I'm getting better at listening. This reinforces comparative forms and prepositions. Learners should also notice verb tense meaning, not just form. I've been studying English for years. This uses the present perfect continuous to emphasize duration. Thinking in English helps grammar become automatic, not stressful.
Daniel, confidence is a major issue. Many learners freeze or feel embarrassed when speaking. How does thinking in English help reduce fear and build confidence?
Fear comes from overthinking, Emma. When learners translate, they monitor every word. This activates self-correction anxiety, which interrupts fluency. Thinking in English reduces mental load. Learners focus on meaning, not form. Using communication strategies helps. What I mean is, let me rephrase that. These phrases give thinking time and maintain flow. Confidence also grows through predictable structures, such as opinion, I think that. Reason, because. Example, for example. This structure supports clear expression and reduces panic. Confidence is not personality, it's preparation.
Daniel, how does thinking in English affect vocabulary growth and word choice?
Thinking in English improves active vocabulary, not just passive recognition. Learners start using collocations. Make a decision. Take responsibility. They also learn contextual meaning. Get can mean receive, become, or arrive. Thinking in English strengthens word retrieval speed and accuracy.
Daniel, we've talked a lot about thinking in English, grammar, confidence, and vocabulary, but we haven't fully explored listening yet. Many learners believe listening is passive, something you do when you don't have energy to study. They listen to English podcasts, YouTube videos, or movies every day, yet they still struggle to think in English or respond naturally when speaking. Why is listening so deeply connected to thinking in English? And how should learners listen in a way that truly transforms their speaking ability?
This question is essential, Emma, because listening is not passive at all. In fact, listening is the engine behind thinking in English. Without strong listening input, the brain simply does not have enough material to produce natural output. Let's start with the core idea. The brain learns language through patterns, not rules. When learners listen regularly to real English, their brains absorb sentence structure, verb tense usage, word order, intonation, and rhythm automatically. This process is called implicit learning. It happens below conscious awareness, but it is incredibly powerful. For example, a learner may hear sentences like, I've been meaning to call you. That's not what I was expecting. It depends on how you look at it. Over time, the brain stops analyzing these sentences and starts recognizing them as complete units. This is how thinking in English develops. The learner doesn't translate. The phrase simply appears in the mind when needed. Now, here's the problem. Most learners practice passive listening. They play English in the background while doing something else. This builds familiarity, but it does not train the brain to respond. To think in English, learners need active listening. Active listening involves attention and intention. Learners should listen with a goal, such as noticing verb tenses, identifying sentence starters, listening for linking words like however, actually, so, and because. For instance, when a learner hears, I didn't realize how difficult it would be, they are hearing the past simple combined with a conditional structure, which expresses surprise about a past situation. Another powerful technique is prediction. While listening, learners should ask themselves, what is the speaker likely to say next? This forces the brain to think forward in English, which is exactly what happens in real conversation. Then there is shadowing, one of the most effective techniques for training thinking and speaking simultaneously. Shadowing means listening to a sentence and repeating it immediately, without pausing. For example, speaker, I'm still trying to figure it out. Learner repeats the sentence in real time. This improves pronunciation, connected speech, sentence stress, and fluency all at once. Listening also teaches natural grammar timing. Learners stop thinking, which tense should I use, and start feeling what sounds correct. This is how native speakers operate. In short, listening gives the brain the raw material it needs to think in English. Speaking is not built from studying, it's built from hearing English used naturally, repeatedly, and meaningfully.
Daniel, let's bring everything together. Many learners feel inspired after a lesson like this, but inspiration fades quickly. They ask practical questions like, what should I do every day? Or how can I make thinking in English a habit instead of a temporary exercise? For someone who truly wants to change how their brain works and make English a natural part of their daily thinking, what kind of long-term routine or lifestyle approach would you recommend?
This is the most important question of the entire episode, Emma, because fluency is built through systems, not motivation. Motivation is emotional and temporary. Habits are neurological and permanent. The brain changes through consistent repetition. Thinking in English becomes natural only when English appears in the learner's life every single day, even in small ways. Let's start with the idea of low-pressure daily exposure. Learners don't need hours of study. They need daily contact. For example, in the morning, learners should listen to English for 10 to 15 minutes. This could be a podcast, a conversation, or a short video. The goal is not full understanding. The goal is to activate the English mode of the brain. During the day, learners should practice inner speech. This is where real change happens. Simple thoughts are enough. I need to finish this today. I'll deal with this later. That didn't go as planned. These sentences naturally use modal verbs, future forms, and past simple tense, which are essential for daily communication. In the evening, learners should do controlled output. This means speaking with structure, answering one question out loud, summarizing the day, recording a short voice note. For example, today was busy, but I managed to finish my main tasks. This sentence practices past simple, contrast using but, and result-focused language. Grammar should be reinforced gently. Instead of studying rules, learners should notice patterns. I'm getting better at expressing my ideas. This reinforces comparative adjectives and gerunds after prepositions. Another critical habit is self-feedback, not self-criticism. Learners should ask, did I think in English today? Did I use English, even briefly? If the answer is yes, progress is happening. Finally, learners must understand this truth. Thinking in English is not something you turn on. It's something that slowly replaces translation through repetition and trust. When English becomes part of how you organize your thoughts, fluency stops being a goal and starts being a result. That's when everything changes.